When Redstone Federal Credit Union began in 1951 with just 11 members, its mission has been simple: support its members and strengthen the communities it serves. Today, with Redstone members across North Alabama and Southern Tennessee, that commitment is as strong as ever. From scholarships for graduating seniors to financial education through school-based branches to programs that help families rebuild credit and grow financial confidence, Redstone continues to invest in the people who call this region home. Join Redstone Federal Credit Union as it proudly celebrates 75 years of service to its members and its community. Hi, everybody. Michelle Epling here with the Madison Means Business podcast. We are so excited to have Brandon Jones with Pinhook. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct. Pinhook Properties.
Pinhook Properties as the owner. To talk with us today on the Madison Means Business podcast. Welcome, Brandon. We're so glad to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
Yes.
My pleasure.
So can you tell everyone just a little bit about yourself, your business, and what inspired you to get where you are today?
You bet. So, believe it or not, I was actually born in Huntsville.
I was born in Huntsville.
Right?
Yeah, Huntsville Hospital, yeah.
Yeah, my dad worked on the Arsenal back in the late 60s. My mom actually taught at Chapman Elementary when it was an elementary school.
Yeah.
So born in Huntsville, but actually grew up about an hour away. Went to Auburn University.
I went to Auburn, yeah.
War Eagle.
Yeah.
Got my degree actually in chemical engineering.
I did not do that.
Yeah, as well as my wife. My wife's a chemical engineer as well. But that took me to the oil fields of Texas. So I spent 7 years in the oil and gas business in Texas, Oklahoma, Wyoming.
Wow.
Doing some pretty incredible engineering work and leading an organization there by the name of Schlumberger. So really neat opportunity to be exposed to an industry that is quite unique in many ways. After 7 years, decided to move back to the area, to the southeast. So I actually joined Target on the distribution side.
Did you get any discounts? Did they give
only a small?
They give you a discount? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm just wondering. It's always been a dream, right?
Yeah, right.
Get that Target discount, yeah.
But spent 10 years with them. Really enjoyed my opportunities there from a leadership development standpoint. Target, absolutely fantastic company to work for. And then I had an opportunity to join a really small company. You may have heard of. It's called Amazon.
Very small.
Very small company.
They take a small portion of all of our wallets every day.
Absolutely.
Very tiny.
Yes.
Hardly anything.
So I joined Amazon, spent about 9 years with Amazon, which was incredible experience. And then the last 3 years with Amazon actually led, we call it HSV1, but it's the non-store facility out on Greenbrier Road across from the Mazda Toyota buildings.
The one you see on 565?
No, not that one.
Not that one.
That's HSV2.
Okay.
That's considered.
So did y'all hear that? That's HSV2.
Yes.
And the other one's on Greenbrier.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's HSV1. It was launched about 4 years ago now. And HSV2 was launched about 2.5-3 years ago. So led that.
I didn't even know we had two different.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And what a great opportunity to lead a very large organization, both in scope as well as complexity, for an unbelievable company.
Yeah.
What I learned at Amazon is something that I've certainly applied in my current business, which is Pinhook Properties. So about a year and a half ago, I call it semi-retired from Amazon.
Okay.
But I had the opportunity.
I think everyone wants to be semi-retired from Amazon, right?
Yeah,
I think that sounds super fun.
It has been. It's been a blast. It's allowed me to do something that I always dreamed of doing, and that is taking assets that we've had in our family for many years. But they've really sat dormant. When I say assets, I mean land.
Yeah.
Land assets that have sat dormant for decades. And I always knew I wanted to do something with it. It was my grandfather started this venture back in 1951. And then
I love that.
Yeah, he did.
So fun.
He did. And that's where it actually gets its name, Pinhook Properties. He's had a coal mine back in the 70s, and it was Pinhook Mine. So I took the Pinhook and they created Pinhook Properties, to continue that legacy that he had. And so 18 months ago, I had the opportunity to launch this. And it's been, what a great experience that has been. Learning about land deals, buying and selling land, how to make a profit with it has been a fantastic experience. And to be able to take that and do good with it within not just my immediate family, but my extended family has been a great blessing as well.
Yeah. And you also are the new facilitator
Yes.
for our beloved Madison CEO program here in the city of Madison. And for those that are not familiar with the Madison CEO program, I've had the privilege to meet the students, help the students, talk to the students over the last 5 years with each class, each semester. But tell me, for someone that's never heard of the Madison CEO program, what that is and why you're so passionate about starting in August as their new facilitator.
Yeah, you bet. So the CEO program is an acronym for creating entrepreneurial opportunities.
What a cool acronym, right?
Yeah.
CEO,
Mhm.
maybe that's why they said CEO to begin with, right? Like every CEO has to create entrepreneurial opportunities for their business each and every
Absolutely.
day.
Absolutely. And so for me, something that's been important to me, whether I was with Schlumberger or Target or Amazon, is being involved with and giving back to the community and in an engaging way.
Mhm.
And for me, especially over the past 4 or 5 years, that's really been through education and being involved with Madison City schools, with Madison City students in many different ways. I've had the opportunity to do things like judge STEM competitions. I've actually gone into the classroom twice and taught class all day long. And
So fun.
yeah, it was
So
fantastic
fun.
experience. I was able to create my own content. One was a teacher.
What grade was it?
This was sixth, seventh, eighth, mainly seventh and eighth grade, so middle
Okay,
school.
fun.
But a great opportunity to create content of my own and go in and teach it. One teacher said, "Hey, does anybody know anybody out there that uses topographic maps?" And I said, "I do for both pleasure as well as for work."
Yeah.
So in the real estate business, when you're talking about vacant land, those kind of things, mapping is extremely important and critical, as well as what I do in my personal life, things I enjoy doing, hobbies. I love to fly fish and bow hunt, especially out west. And so
Okay.
mapping and topography is super
Yeah.
critical for that.
We
So
we've been to the Cleveland Public Library that has the largest collection of maps in the world.
oh, I think I would get lost in there,
Oh my gosh.
lost in a good
My
way.
family spent 3 hours. I was questioning my life choices on
Yeah,
why they're my family,
right,
but
right.
yeah, so you should go sometime on vacation
That
to
would be
the
r
Cleveland Library. It
yeah.
is phenomenal. But yeah, so tell me a little bit. I mean, what an incredible career you've had. I mean, going from Target to Amazon to helping manage family land and assets to now inspiring the next generation of entrepreneurs. Can we start maybe with your grandfather back in 1950? What is a
Mhm.
lesson that you would say that your family has always instilled into you that has helped you be successful as you've gone through those different companies
Yeah, I
over
believe,
the years?
the word that came to my mind as you were speaking about that was perseverance. As I saw my grandfather, and obviously I didn't know his story or I wasn't there when he was young, but
Right.
he literally mined coal with a mule and a wagon.
I can't even
And
imagine. Like, I
yes.
was hot just, going up through
Yep.
flights of stairs here on the North Square in downtown Huntsville.
Yeah.
I like thinking how hard my life was in July. It's a different life they led
It
back then.
was, it
A
was.
different mindset and grit and mentality that I worry is lost on this next generation of children.
Yeah, and so what I saw through his life story was a guy who grew up with absolutely nothing, mined coal with a mule and a wagon, but was able to scrape out enough of a living that in 1951 purchased the first piece of property that he actually mined coal on with that same mule and wagon. He knew there's coal
Wow.
underneath it, and he held on to that property. It took him forever to pay it off, but they finally started mining it in the 70s, 1970s and 80s. And from that, he was able to take the profits from that and buy up land, real estate across several counties here in the state of Alabama. And to see him go from uh, someone that really had a hard life, extremely hard life, to someone who was, I would say, relatively prosperous,
Right.
was what a neat story. And that only comes through perseverance. I think of the human spirit and something that is, I would say, was instilled in me, even as a young child, is you work hard, you persevere, and when you have setbacks in whatever it is in life, you have to find a way to work through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me a little bit about Target, Amazon. I mean, massive
Mhm.
corporations. What kind of leadership lessons? You said you learned a lot
Yes.
from those two organizations that you wish all business owners in our Madison business community either knew or like those golden nuggets that you're like, if you would just do these couple things, trust me, it's all going to work out. But you've got to, stay focused on this and not busy work that you think is moving the needle in you. Like, what would you say that is? Regardless of the industry, the size,
Yep.
staffing, what are the
Absolutely.
truths about a business that people sometimes overlook?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is goal setting, and not just goal setting, but using the acronyms out there, but SMART.
Yes.
Using SMART goals. Whether you're leading an extremely large organization or you're starting your first company, that is absolutely critical. So SMART standing for the goal has to be specific, measurable, it has to be achievable, relevant, and time bound. So that is absolutely critical. So when I started Pinhook Properties, I said by the end of year one, so we had land assets.
Right.
By the end of year one, I want to have this amount of capital because we had no capital. All we had were land assets. By the end of year one, I want to have X amount of dollars in capital, which I can then take and do 1, 2, and 3 with.
Exactly.
But the first step, the first goal had to be, I needed capital. And that's true for any business starting up is you have to have capital. Now, for some people, that may be a few $1,000s.
Right.
For some people, that may be a few $1 million, but it doesn't matter.
10 million.
Or
Yeah,
10,
yeah,
10
yeah.
million.
I don't know.
You know,
Yeah.
but that capital you have to have. Maybe you borrow it from a bank, or maybe you have assets that you can convert into capital. But the most important thing is to set goals and work towards those goals. If you don't have that, then
It's a hobby. That's what I tell.
it becomes a hobby.
It's a hobby. That's what I
It
tell
is.
people.
And
Sounds like a business, but
It-
you really got a hobby.
you really have a hobby.
Is it
You really have
costing
a-
you money or making you money? Like, it's real easy to tell the difference.
And
like,
then another piece of advice I'll give anybody is make it visible. So I think you have to have visibility to your goals, and then you have to have accountability towards those goals. Visibility meaning you share with somebody, here's what I'm going to achieve, and here's how I'm going to track it. And accountability, that's what they provide.
and they help hold you accountable.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So we have obviously an LLC that I run, but I have other members of my family that are members of the LLC. So they're my accountability.
Absolutely.
I reached out to my brother last night and said, hey, here's a deal that I'm interested in. Here's what I want to do. Give me your thoughts.
Absolutely.
And, if this doesn't work out, like, what are our next steps?
Yeah.
Right. And so I believe that is absolutely critical in running a business.
Yeah. Now let's go back to the Madison CEO program. I'm very passionate that this is within our city limits of Madison, not only as the Madison Chamber president, but as someone prior to being the Madison Chamber president. My mom and I went out and started our own business when I was about 30 years old. We sold clothing, plus size clothing that they didn't offer in boutiques back at the time. Went to market, went to City Hall, got the business license, made a little website, sold outfits to people I've never met on Pinterest by creating a Pinterest board, did trunk shows out of our house. Tell me a little bit about your passion of getting involved, and then what can the community do, the business community could do today to truly help inspire these high school kids that are actually by the end of this time next year, next June, will have not only done a class business, but will have created their own business from scratch. So how can we help the Madison CEO program community wide really reach their SMART goals that they have each year as a class?
Yeah, you bet. So let me take that through a few steps here. So first off, I have a real passion, as I was sharing earlier, a real passion for the students in Madison
They're
City.
amazing.
Absolutely. I say this each time I go into a class or have an interaction. I truly believe Madison City school system is the greatest school system in the state of Alabama.
Did you hear that? We're the greatest school system in the state of Alabama, Madison City Schools. Heard here on the
Madison City
Madison Business Blueprint podcast.
It is absolutely fantastic. I've had three kids go through the school system there, and the experiences they have, not just academics, fantastic. Like, I don't think anybody questions that, but it's the other opportunities they had outside of even academics that I believe sets Madison City Schools apart. And I'm a huge proponent of it. And the way I see is the CEO program is one more way that Madison City School students have to engage in the community and to engage in a way that is different than just academia. So the next part of your question had to do with what can business owners do? I would say two most important things that business owners can do in Madison City. Be a mentor and or supporter of the CEO program.
And what kind of time commitment is that to be a mentor for the Madison CEO programs? If I'm a small business owner. Maybe I own a business on Main Street, or maybe I'm the CEO of a defense company here in town or in Research Park. What kind of time commitment are we looking being a mentor? Like, how does that work?
It could be as little as an hour a month.
Mm.
You may have a great relationship with the student and you say, "Hey, you know what? I would really like to dedicate more time than that." So some of it is flexible based
Mhm.
on, the student's needs and the
And I
mentor's
think
needs.
everyone can find an hour a month. I mean, how many hours a
Absolutely,
day do we spend on our phones scrolling
absolutely,
social media? So,
absolutely, and it's a great way to give back to the community, and that
mhm.
which is how I look at this role for me as being the facilitator. This is my way of giving back to the community, and I really enjoy being involved in the community, and this is a way that I can do that. And so for small business owners or large business owners, um, being involved with the students, supporting the program, maybe even giving us a place to meet. So this one thing unique about this program is we don't meet at the school. We don't meet at Bob Jones or James Clemens. We actually meet in the community at businesses. So we ask businesses, hey, open your doors. We meet 7:30 to 9 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Thursday, and give us a space to meet. I believe that's very important for students to see different types of businesses in the community, as well as interact with those leaders. When I read the feedback, they did an end of year survey last year. When I read the feedback of what students appreciated most, number one that really stood out to me was that engagement with business owners, people that came and spoke to the class, or the fact that they got to interact with a business owner in Madison City was really important. There's the funding piece as well. We are funded by businesses in the community. I will be a contributor as well. My business itself will be a contributor to the CEO program. The funding is an important part of the program as well.
Right. And I think, like I always tell people, there's so many wonderful businesses in this town that want to see entrepreneurs succeed that we're excited that the whole business community will rally around you to help with that funding effort. And I think, what people need to understand is like the things these business owners, these high school students do. Like, I just went to um what y'all hosted on Main Street and going booth to booth. One kid created athletic duct tape, and then someone else has created a soap business that's currently in a soap dish that was on my daughter's bathroom sink that for some reason this morning was on our kitchen counter, and I'm not sure why she's moved the dish. But I think she wanted to wash her hands with that soap at the kitchen, and she actually like literally moved the soap dish so she couldn't use the soap that I had in my kitchen for her because she likes that soap so much. But it inspires like my 11-year-old twins. Like, they can own their own business, and
Absolutely.
but it also teaches these kids to me that grit, that perseverance you were talking about. Because owning a business, there's steps, and you've got to have goals, and it will help them so much later in life when they get that first job, or if they continue this business for years to come. I think it's a win-win for the whole community to do that.
It
I
is.
know we've
Absolutely.
we've hired the class before, and they've done my board gifts for the year. They did Rice Krispie treats as a class project. I think it was 2 Christmases ago, and I bought out their Rice Krispie treats and gave them to my board of directors as a wonderful holiday gift. You say it as a chamber, we support local entrepreneurs. Are you truly doing that with the dollars you personally spend out in the community? And that's something that I've always been very passionate about. So, tell me a little bit, what else you would like people to know about the Madison CEO program. Is there anything you've not talked about that you would like to let the community know?
I just think it's an absolutely fantastic program that gives kids a special opportunity to not only understand their entrepreneurial spirit that they may want to carry on, hopefully
Yes.
in Madison City, right?
Yes.
But it also gives them something that I believe many high school students are missing, and that is interaction with professionals in the workplace. So there are many of these students that will not go on to own their own business, but this will give them, I call it professionalism, the ability to interact with many different professionals and help develop that professionalism as well that will carry with them through the rest of their life also.
The one thing I've always loved the most about every time I go talk to the Madison CEO kids is the minute I walk in, they all come shake my hand. And, to them, they're like, oh, it's probably an annoying thing the facilitator makes us do anytime someone walks in the room. But to me, they're gonna naturally do that subconsciously anytime they go into a room for the rest of their life, and realize you're already 90% ahead of
Absolutely.
all the other kids that just
Yes.
want their heads down in their phones and are afraid to look at people. And
That is a great point.
and it is just so encouraging to me because they do it over how many times y'all meet. I don't even know how many times the whole school year, Monday through Thursday, for you're going to be doing it so many times that it is going to become a habit, whether you want it to or not. You know what I mean? And so they're going to be walking into rooms and not, be afraid. And that is a skill to me that if they learn nothing else from the Madison CEO program, they will always be confident walking into a room, whether it's an interview, a presentation, having to meet with the CEO because they're an intern and their boss thinks they have a great idea, and they'll be like, oh, I've already met 15 CEOs. This is no big deal. And I
That's
think
right.
that really sets you ahead in life and
It does.
everything. And
There are things that we have learned, you and I have learned over our careers that they are literally going to learn as a junior or senior in high school. And it's hard to put a value on that.
it is. When I was 22, I used to call on financial institutions, and my boss at 22, I had a coworker that was like in her 40s. She's my age now. And they assigned me to an account that was not in my area. I was like, why am I doing this? She goes, because you can sit next to a CEO and continue to carry on a conversation. I was like, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to. Like I didn't know, right?
Right?
And so I think that's so important, sometimes that if you can teach these kids to naturally do these things, to realize most people can't. And I truly am so passionate about the Madison CEO program. I know we're kind of running out of time, but I want to ask you a couple more questions. So, what is one advice you would give someone who's thinking about starting a business or pursuing entrepreneurship?
I'm going to circle back to an answer I gave earlier, but it all comes down to goal setting. You can have a great idea, but if I believe the term you used, if you treat it as a hobby,
Yeah.
it's just what it is. If you're not setting clear
Yes.
goals and expectations for yourself and for your business, then uh, it's not a guaranteed failure, but your chances of success go down
They
greatly.
say even just writing it down increases it by like 50 or 60%. So like taking
Absolutely.
it just from your brain to
Yes.
paper makes it so much more real.
And it doesn't
And
always have to be complex.
it doesn't.
Literally saying, "My goal is X, and how I'm gonna get there is by doing this, this, and this." And that's exactly what I said when I started Pinhook Properties, is my goal is X amount of capital by the end of the year, and I'm gonna get there by doing this, this, and this. And if this doesn't work out, I had another plan.
You got to
Yep.
pivot in business.
Yes, and in one case it didn't, and I was able to pivot and still achieve my goal by the end of the year, which that is just incredibly important, no matter what you're doing in life. Even, um, so I gave the CEO students a challenge over the summer. I don't know if you've heard about this, but I said over the summer, I want you to have one professional goal and one personal goal.
Oh, I love that.
And so I said, "Come up with what that is, work towards it, and first day of class when we meet, everybody's gonna share what their personal goal was and what their professional goal was."
I love
And
that.
so, and I shared with them what mine was.
Yeah.
I said, "My professional goal over the summer is I've got a tract of land, with, multiple lots on it, and I wanna take it to market before the first day of our class."
Love that.
And my personal goal was to catch, me and my family members, got 5 family members, is to catch 5 world records on the fly rod. I'm a huge fly fisherman,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
So
We're running out of time. We didn't even go into that. That's gonna be a different podcast.
yeah,
You're like a world record holder for fly fishing,
not yet, but
but you're gonna be.
well, I will be for sure. But getting the hard part is, so my oldest daughter is a physical therapist in Birmingham, and she has limited time. My middle daughter's in med school down in
They sound
Mobile.
busy.
Yes, and my son will be at Auburn. So, and my
Raised them right.
yes,
Yes,
yes, all
yes,
of them. Yes, they
yes,
all went to Auburn.
yes.
And so really it's finding the time to go chase these world records. But the cool thing is right here in North Alabama, there's the opportunity to set 5 different world records on a fly rod.
Did you hear that? Right here
Yeah.
in North Alabama, there is 5 different opportunities
At
to
least
set
5. There's more than that,
to
but I
set a
identified
world record
5.
with
Yes.
fly fishing.
Yes,
So
with fly
don't say
fishing.
there's no
Yes.
goals in North Alabama. You gotta look for them, right?
Absolutely.
Or catch them, literally. So
Literally just have to go catch them. Of course,
yeah.
it's much more challenging than that,
Yes.
but it is something that's achievable. So I've got that goal. Is that going to occur by the end of the summer? My original goal, probably not. But if I don't, I will understand why I didn't achieve my goal, and I'll work towards improving on that.
There you
So,
go.
yeah.
And you can still keep practicing.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
absolutely. One more thing I want to ask you about is I am sure you were tasked between all your wonderful career that you've had some amazing projects put in front of you. What is one of your proudest accomplishments or milestones you've had across the course of your career? And then, kind of, what was that leadership mindset you had in the back of your mind the whole time you were working towards it to kind of keep you to not get, I always call it like putting your blinders on that did not, where you might have accomplishment that, maybe other teams struggled or things like that. What did you do and how did you do
Yeah.
it and what's the secret? Or is there not a secret? It's just a lot of hard work. So,
Some of both. So I'll give you one that you will actually, I think you will be like, oh, I know what that is.
yeah.
And this is with Amazon. So obviously Amazon's highly automated. We switched to what we call poly bags. If you order apparel from Amazon, many times it comes in a plastic poly bag. It's a
Yes.
white bag
Yes.
and it's got the Amazon smile on the front.
Yes.
So when we started running these, and this has been several years ago, the equipment that we had did not detect the barcode label on these bags very well at all. And the facility I was at actually ran many poly bags at like tens of thousands of poly bags every week. And I noticed the defect rate from the poly bags was 2%. 2% of all poly bags are what we call kicked out, meaning it was a defect. And versus corrugate, a box, was about 0.5%. So it had 4 times the defect rate. And I said, why is that? So I started investigating, doing some research, doing some observation, and found that it's because of the placement of the label, the barcode, many times past the scanners in either a concave or convex manner. And this created most of the kickouts and the differential between corrugate and polybags. So I went on this huge adventure of working with the category managers, of working with maintenance, of working with different levels in the company to get the polybags to test and change the polybags. So I came up with a solution of changing where the barcode was, along with the overall layout, which meant we had to change the layout of the bag. And so what we found is that after an immense amount of testing over the course of several months, that by changing the layout of the bag, we're able to reduce the kickout rate from 2% down to the 0.5%, which is exactly what we saw with the corrugate boxes. So in that year, Amazon ran 300 million poly bags. And so when you think about 300 million,
That's a lot of it if a 2% has an error. Like that's
absolutely.
that's more than like 5 not working
Yes.
out.
It
Yes.
comes out to be about 4.5 million defects
Wow.
that I was able to eliminate by
That's incredible.
by changing the bag
But
layout.
that's also looking at something that other people would think, "Oh, that's just a small percentage, 2%, no big
That's
deal."
right. That's right.
You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
really caring about those details,
Yes.
really, make a big difference.
It is, and especially at that kind of scale. Like
Yeah.
if we ran 100 poly bags a year, okay, not a big deal. But when you're running 300 million, a 1.5% impact is absolutely massive,
Yeah.
and not just for the product getting to the customer on time, but also every bag that had a defect had to be opened and rebagged. So the cost was immense. When you talk about 4.5 million defects.
Yeah.
So that project was one that I'm probably most proud of, just because of the scope and level of impact that it had across.
And you'll have
a
that
massive-
impact for years to come.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love
So
that.
every day, every day, sometimes it feels like every day that I receive a poly bag in the mail, but
You're like, "I did that."
yeah. I look at the bag and I see the layout and I'm like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
And which is really cool to see.
That is cool. That is cool. Well, is there anything else you want to leave with the Madison business community? I have one fun question I always like to
Okay.
ask you at the end, but is there
Okay.
anything we haven't talked about or mentioned that you wanted to make sure you talked about today on the Madison Means Business
Yeah, I would
podcast?
just like to wrap it up with this. I really believe Madison City is one of the greatest cities in the state of Alabama. And I know there's all the
No, but we are the
we-
greatest city in
it
the
is-
state of Alabama. I can say that because I believe
love
it. Yeah.
Madison, the city of Madison.
We love
Absolutely love.
Madison,
I
right?
love downtown Madison. I love
Yes.
the old square down there. I love Old Black Bear. Like I believe they may put my picture on the wall of the Old Black Bear at some point.
I love
absolutely
that.
love it.
I love that.
Old Black.
I'll cut a
Old Black
ribbon for that.
Yes.
Did you hear that, Todd? put Brandon's face and
Old
Black
Black
Bear.
Bear is absolutely fantastic. But just in general, spending time in downtown Madison, but the city itself, between the schools, some of the small businesses that are there, and just the opportunity that's given me and really my kids, just a wonderful place to grow up. And it's something that I will always appreciate.
Awesome. All right, the last question I always like to ask on the Madison Means Business podcast: what's your favorite restaurant in Madison?
Already said it.
Old
Old
Black
Black
Bear.
Bear.
There we go.
Absolutely love it. So much so that my wife says, "Okay, we're not going to Old Black Bear tonight." I'm like, "Why not? It's the best place in
Corey,
Madison."
tell Jody I'll go with y'all.
It's
My kids love
absolutely
Old
love
Black
it.
Bear.
I love
They
Old
love
Black
it.
Bear, and just we know, I would say most of the staff in there, and so when we go in, it's not just going to a restaurant, it's going to a place where we know so many of the servers and managers.
It's like coming home.
It is, and that's why I absolutely love it. It's special.
Yes. Well, we're so glad you're here in Madison. We're glad that you're supporting the home of the Madison CEO program, all that you're doing, having started your business, but all that you did regionally for the Amazon distribution centers. Brandon, thank you so much for being on the Madison Mean Business podcast. You can find more information about Brandon on the Madison CEO's website. And you also can find him at his website. Tell me again what your business website is.
You can find me on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is
Yes.
my social media.
Okay, Brandon Jones on LinkedIn. He will actually accept your LinkedIn request. I think I have like 200 waiting to be accepted. So go like him on LinkedIn. You also can see him working with the Madison City School students through the Madison CEO program. Please get involved in the program. It is truly the heart of creating that entrepreneurial incubator hub here in our city limits. And again, just like you said, we love Madison and we're so honored to have you on today's podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.